Good afternoon. My name is Tawanda Sells, and I'm a student at Western Governors University, where my major is education. I'll be speaking to you today about adoption and guardianship. I became interested in the two when a close friend of mine came to me for advice on what she could do to get her grandson out of foster care. With that being said, I carefully researched her options to either adopt or establish guardianship. I want everyone to close your eyes and just imagine how it may be growing up in a foster home. You go to school each day and listen to other children talk about their moms and dads. Then sometimes you wonder if you will ever see your family again, or if someone will ever come to take you home. You may now open your eyes. Today, there are more than 180,000 children in America alone who are now living in foster care. Finding these children permanent homes has been the federal and state's long-term goal. But how do they move these children out of foster care? The answer is by way of adoption or establishing guardianship. I'm sure that we have all heard people speak of adoption and guardianship at least once or twice in our lifetime. Adoption and guardianship are both the traditional process that the state child welfare agencies use to move children out of the foster care system. But whether a child is adopted or if a family member or kin is awarded guardianship, the goal is to provide that child with a permanent home and family they can call their own. So what makes the two different? Let's take a look at adoption. What exactly is adoption? Adoption is a social and legal process that creates a new family and gives adopted children the same rights and benefits as those born into the family. Children available for adoption are carefully selected by the adoptive parents. When prospective parents are looking into adoption, they may take into consideration the age of the child. Some may choose to adopt a child in the United States or a child in a foreign country. Some may also decide to adopt siblings or more than one child. In the past, the majority of the children adopted were under the age of 5, but today more parents are adopting older children as well, as did the parents of these adopted children, these 6 beautiful little girls. As we think about adoption and the children waiting to be adopted, there is one thing I want you to remember, and that is that adoption is something that needs to be embraced, not as a punishment to the unfit parents, but as a gift of love to the child. Now that we have a precise understanding of adoption, let's take a closer look at guardianship. Guardianship is when a minor child is placed in the permanent care of a family member or kin, and that person becomes legally responsible for caring for that child. Unlike adoption, guardianship does not require the termination of parental rights, unless it is in the best interest of the child. So how beneficial is guardianship to the child? It can be a benefit for both the child and the relative. One, because it allows the child to continue their relationship with their biological parents when there are not sufficient grounds to terminate parental rights. And 2, because it is also a way to help that child to maintain the ties and continue the bond with their family. Studies have shown that children who are allowed to remain in the care of a family member or someone who is extremely close to the family usually do not have to change their living arrangements, unlike foster children who tend to sometimes be placed in several different foster homes. Although in the past, family and kin were not informed about the possibilities of becoming a legal guardian, there has been a significant increase in the number of family members and kin receiving guardianship. I have witnessed firsthand that it does have a positive impact on the child, as you can see by this vision of love. In fact, guardianship has proven to be the most effective way of moving children out of the state foster care system and into permanent homes. Each day, there is a child who is stripped away from his family member at no fault of his own or rescued at the hands of his abuser. But no matter what the situation is, this child will soon be living in a home with someone they do not know. It is those persons who choose to either become adoptive parents or establish guardianship that will provide these children with hope for a promising life. Adoption and guardianship does have its differences, but at the end of the day, whether a child is adopted or if a family member establishes guardianship, their goal is to provide the child with a permanent home and family they can call their own. Thank you for your applause. Before we close, I would like to open up this part to any questions you may have.
Is there a fee to adopt a child?
There are no fees when a parent adopts a child through the Division of Human Resource. In addition, the DHR does contract with certain private agencies that do not charge fees under the agreement, but you will incur during qualification process, such as home study inspections and legal fees.
When a family member wants to apply for guardianship, do they go through a background check?
Yes, and they also go through screening as well as home safety inspections.
And that's drug screening, right?
Yes, ma'am.
I've heard that adoptive parents can receive monthly financial assistance for the adopted child. Can a legal guardian receive the same financial assistance?
Unfortunately not, but in some states, a law is being established to allow guardians to also receive financial assistance as do adoptive parents. Are there any more questions? Since there are no more questions, this will conclude my informative presentation. I would like to thank you all for listening and have a great evening.